Everyone, welcome to SQ TV. I am your host Rajni, and today on the show I have with me a very special guest joining us. Her name is Helen, Mrs. Toffee, and she is the owner of Campbell Education, and also she is a psychological trainer and an emotional coach. Today on the program, we are going to speak with him about she being an owner of Campbell Education and also she being an emotional trainer, an emotional coach, and a psychological trainer. So, but before, let's welcome her to SQ TV. Hi, Helen. Welcome to SQ TV.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure having you on the show. So, Helen, without any further ado, I just would like to directly ask my very first question to you, which is, if you can please, talk about your journey. So, how did you started the Campbell Education, and then how did you become a psychological trainer and an emotional coach? So, if you can please talk about your journey.
Right. I have to go back a bit to cover that. I became a psychologist quite a long time ago, 30 years ago. And I was a university lecturer lecturing in general psychology. And then I came across purely by accident because, frankly, my boyfriend introduced me to it at the time. Emotional training, which was not done by psychologists. It was done by other people. I did some training, fell in love with it. I realized that this was why I wanted to become a psychologist, because for me, my job is to help people to be happy, to help them to let go of suffering and to help them to be happy. And what could be a better job? So I gave up in a university and I went freelance. And for 20 years, I've studied emotional skills and developed my own work. And I was also teaching. I was teaching in school. And COVID has changed everything. And since I was coaching as a sideline, but now that I'm no longer able to go into school because of my health, I've been lucky enough to be shown how to go online. And that's changed everything, really. So now my whole attention is on the coaching, which is exciting, challenging, but very enjoyable and very worthwhile, I think.
That's great. That's amazing. Okay. So, we are obviously going to talk about, you being the owner. How did you start with the Campbell Education and the business perspective of it? But before, I actually would like to know. So, you actually said that you are a psychological trainer and also an emotional coach. So, is there any difference between being a psychological trainer and an emotional coach?
A psychological trainer can train all kinds of things. It might be thinking skills, it might be analysis, smart planning, all kinds of things like that. But emotional coach is different. An emotional coach, you're working at a deeper level. It's not just logical thinking, it's emotional thinking. It's very specialized. We are a growing understanding of the role of emotion in life. Which seems to many cultures, I'm sure, like, what's the West doing catching up in the 21st century on something that other people have been known about for thousands of years? But, science is catching up slowly, and we're learning just how important emotional skills are for being successful, and never more so than at the moment, because life is challenging at the moment. It's very hard. And people who can cope with themselves can cope with most things. When you're able to manage yourself and your own emotions, you can manage most things. The unimaginable is survivable for some, in some way. So, yes, that's what interests me. And it's for very many people who come to me, it's something they've never thought of before. It's very natural. There's nothing strange about what I do. It's perfectly natural. The things that I teach people are things they can already do already. It's just that they don't know what they are. But once you know how these things work, it's very simple to take control and feel better. And the things that I teach, you could find in any village in India. There are people all over the world who know the things that I teach, and they learn them in different contexts. They learn them maybe in a religious context or, in school. They learn them in lots of different places. But I teach it very deliberately, and I'm aiming for adults who haven't yet learned those skills, who want to apply them to work. For example, I've just relaunched a bullying course, which is not how to bully. Most people know very well how to bully. It's how to survive bullying. So teaching just those really personal skills that enable you to deal with pressure. Those skills are really what I would like to focus on. I can do other coaching as well, but really the emotional skills are what interest me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really great, and we are going to speak about it, a bit later. But before, I actually would like to know from you. So, you told that you actually taught psychology. So, 30 years back, yeah. So
Yes.
then, how did you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, please go ahead. You're saying something.
Yes, psychology. I love psychology. It's so interesting. I love seeing it in other people. I love analysing people's behaviour. I love the science of psychology. Science is the best game, which, considering I started life as an artist and became a scientist by accident when I was 30, was a big shock. But the science is great. But I found that academic psychology didn't really meet my need to help people. So when I went freelance, it was because I wanted to put these skills into action. I wanted to bring the service to people and help people. And I worked in that way, doing lots of different things, all kinds of contracts. What made a big difference for me has been that very fortunately for me, I have a next door neighbour who's marvellous, and she has been instrumental in helping me to take a small business that was a sideline and make it into an online business, which is very exciting. It opens up new possibilities that weren't ever available to me before. And that's really exciting. And I think that everyone, even though the current situation is so traumatic and we're all struggling, I think that the future for many people who haven't had opportunities for business before are going to be different. That we're going to have an opportunity to do new things that we're learning to do now. So the fact that it's difficult now it's not always going to be this hard, and we can benefit from what we're going through.
Yeah, even I believe in it too, and definitely it is going to be much easier, and it is going to be, right now especially in India, I can talk our country. So there is a lot of problem in there. I mean, especially with the situation that is going on right now, there's a lot of problem in jobs and young people having jobs. So people are facing these kind of problems. So I think later in the future we might see a lot of opportunities, and also with everything coming online, I think there is no barrier, as in we don't have any barrier with reaching to other people or reaching to other countries and speaking with other people. So if you would please like to say something about it.
I would say in particular, if you'll forgive me for saying it, this is a great benefit to women. Women have been we've had more barriers against us than men. We have other responsibilities that take our time. We have real complications with actually going out and being in society. Not all women are confident to go out and be in society. It's not easy just to navigate around. Even to be somewhere else can be a challenge for a woman. But when you're working online, when you're doing this kind of business, you're doing this from your home territory. It's safe. It's controlled. You can fit things around your work, your other responsibilities, and things that you have got to offer, you can bring online. There are things you have to learn. You're going to need coaching. You're going to need to have people who can show you how to do it. But women have things to offer. Women's voices have not been heard enough. And I think the opportunity to do business online is a great opportunity for women who may have never considered going online to do business. They should look at it afresh. It may not be that you can, it's not going to be selling donuts out of a basket. You're not going to be able to wander around doing something like that. But women have got things to offer. And if you've got something that you got that can help someone and there's someone who needs it, there's no reason why you can't find a way to do that online.
Yeah, definitely. With this, I also would like to know from you that, I mean, you actually gave a new perspective to this. And I actually have never, I never thought about it in this way. That it is going to be much more comfortable and much more easier for women. And you have perfectly, said this. But here I also would like to say that, a lot of people are also there in the market who are, who doesn't have that, that confidence of taking their business online, and who are still lacking that confidence, and who are still finding it very, very hard to take their business online. So, I mean, what would you like to tell them?
It is nerve-wracking. And I have to say, the first time I went on, it's different when you're chatting on Zoom with your family. You don't worry about them. But very few women, certainly of my age, expect to be working on screen. You don't, when you're young and you're, well, lucky and attractive like you are, is not, you've got every advantage. But when you're older and you look at the face in the mirror and you think, is that actually me? That's a challenge. And to have the confidence to put yourself out there and to be seen and to speak and to, it's, I can speak to a lecture theatre full of people and not feel worried at all. But I can still, if I'm speaking to someone important online and I know that, that you are judged, of course you're judged, people can't help being human, but it's still, you still have to take a breath and be courageous, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth taking the risk and having a try. You can always start small. You don't have to start off with going to Carnegie Hall, but you can start small and do something small and work your way up. And particularly if you can find people to work with, if you can find a network of supportive people, particularly women are great at supporting people. Women will support other women and lift one another. And when we do that, we all rise. So if you can find a good network of women to rise together and help one another out, give one another confidence, help one another find the resources you need. Everything you need online is available, virtually free of charge. You can find graphics. You can find, it won't be top drawer, it won't be fantastic, but you can make your own graphics using software, which is very easy to use. It's been designed for people who are not graphic artists. You don't have to pay for marketing if you can learn to use social media really well. And women are helping one another to do that. Women are supporting one another. Men too. I mean, it doesn't exclude men in any way at all. Men are already out there and doing the business. But find your network, find your tribe of people who are looking to do the same kind of thing, make friends, and have the courage to put yourself out there and let them help you to do that.
Wow, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah. So with this, so now that you have mentioned that, you should find your network and you should support each other and you should rise together. But I actually would like to know from you, so what, according to you, is the definition of success? Success
is whatever you think it is. But when you go to bed at night and you've done good work today and you're satisfied, that to me is success. It's this feeling of satisfaction that you get, knowing that you did the best you could do with what you had. And I don't think that matters whether you're living on a yacht in the Mediterranean or in the Indian Ocean, or whether you're living, in an ordinary house in an ordinary street. Success is inside you. It's your decision. Is that I have been successful today. And I think that holds people back from trying means they can't feel the success. And you only really fail when you don't try.
Okay, so you are saying that whatever you, the feelings inside you, if you're happy about it, so that actually is success. If you're not happy about it, so it's not success. Okay.
Yeah. It's not always easy for people to understand.
We actually never thought that success could be this. Success could be defined in such a simple way, but you actually define it in such a simple way, and so you made it so simple and also beautiful at the same time. So I mean, that's true. So with this now coming, yeah.
It's not easy when other people have different measures of success. For some people, having the car and the house and the lifestyle and the trophy wife or whatever, those are their measures of success. But I would say that if as long as they are happy with that at the end of the day, then good. But I think a lot of people have gathered together the signs of success without actually internalizing success, and they are empty. Their lives are empty. They chase around after the next phone and the next car. But until success is meaningful inside, it's your hollow shell, and you won't actually feel satisfaction. It's really important to emotional intelligence to understand that if you're not happy inside, you'll never be happy outside.
So whatever amount of money you might earn, or whatever the biggest car you can buy, but if it doesn't give you happiness from inside, it's not success for you.
Yes, I think one of the wisest things I ever read was that I would like to have £10 more than I need every week.
Wow. I mean, that's really wise, and that's really making sense.
If you knew that you were always going to have as much as you needed and a bit more, then why would you not be able to feel satisfaction? Having more doesn't make you happy. Having what you need gives you the groundwork to be happy. It's very hard to be happy when you are worried about money, when you don't have the food for your children, when you're worried about the roof over your head. That's hard to be happy. It's a challenge. You can do it. I know people who do it, but it's tough. But as long as you know that everything that you need for your life is secure, then anything else you have on top of that, you can just enjoy. But if you don't know how to be satisfied, then you're in trouble.
Okay, so now, Helen, now I actually would like to speak about, psychology. So you actually have taught psychology. So I would like to know from you that you actually said, in the beginning of the interview, you actually mentioned that you like observing people and their behavior. So for people like me who don't know much about psychology, or so what would you like to tell them? So when they are observing other people, so where should they know that if they are observing someone else's behavior? So where should they know that, okay, so now this person's behavior is going off track, or I should leave the place, or I should leave the conversation?
Okay. Psychology is an umbrella word. It covers lots of different things. You'll find psychologists working in different areas of human experience. So some psychologists are interested in thinking. Some psychologists are interested in health and well-being. My area is emotion. And I would say when you're watching someone and you're feeling with them, you know what's happening inside you. When you're with someone and you can feel, you can just read on them whether they are safe to be around, whether they're good people to be around. Some people have what we call in my family the face. In my family, we have the face, and even children have the face in my family. And there's something about our face that makes everyone come and tell us everything. I first was introduced to this idea when I was quite young. I remember being at a bus stop with my mother, and a complete stranger stopped and cried all over my mother and told her everything. And when she'd gone, I said to Mum, "Who was that?" And she said, "I don't know." But she explained to me that when you have the face, people will come and tell you. And it's not just the face, it's a feeling that you give out, that people trust you and want to share with you. It comes from being confident, I'm fairly sure. It comes from being confident in who you are and feeling comfortable with who you are. And it does attract people to. And when I said that I was going to actually change my training and change and become a psychologist, everyone said, "Oh, you've done that for years, Helen. You've been a psychologist for years." The reason that my nickname is Mrs. Toffee is because that's what children named me when I was a teacher. The children used to call me Mrs. Toffee. because I used psychology. And actually, I trained them. My name is Mrs. Campbell. That's why I have Campbell Education. But the children named me Mrs. Toffee, and I gave up fighting it in the end. I just had to accept that was my name. It is my name locally. Because I did use psychology to train children. And I was working on their thinking. But I would say, having worked on thinking and on feeling is far more powerful. If you are in control, and I do say the person who controls the energy in the room controls the room. If you're the one who makes, if people feel comfortable with you, if people feel safe with you, if you can spread that and enable that, facilitate that, then it puts you in an incredibly powerful situation. But if you can learn to detect emotion, if you can look for emotion, when you're working with someone or when you're speaking with someone, feel how they feel. If you can help them feel better, that's fantastic. And they will thank you for it. They will love you for it. But if they do not feel good, and particularly if they're aggressive with that and they make you feel nervous or scared, then I would say you need to be able to protect yourself from that. You need to be able to cut that off to some extent, not in an aggressive way, although they may feel it as aggressive, but you do need to be able to put a barrier up just to keep yourself safe, just from that negative energy, just to keep yourself calm and still, because other people can't necessarily help themselves. When people are in distress, they radiate distress, and taking on that distress doesn't help them. To be able to contain their distress and then, if possible, help them reduce it is a great gift to give someone. It's what makes my work the most valuable thing, is the fact that I can do that. But you don't have to be a psychologist to do that. All you need to do is learn to be still, learn to be calm, and learn to share calmness, and try and help other people to relax and let go of that negative vibration. Just relax is a great thing to be able to do. And that's something that you do from inside. And whether you do it by yoga or whether you do it by meditation or, whatever you do to do that, the more of it you do, the better your life will become. It makes you happier. You feel better. It's worth the effort. It really is.
I'm sure. And with this also, in today's time, people are finding it so hard to cope up with things that is happening around them, because there are so many, especially in India, we are going through such tough times, and we are finding it so very difficult to just wake up in the morning and to not hear a bad news. So it's so tough. So what do we do at that time?
Oh gosh, and my heart goes out to you, and so does, we are watching you from the West. In England, we have your news on our news. We know what's happening, and we just, our hearts come out to you. I've actually written and done an audio letter for some students in India recently, and I can share with you the things that I said to them, some of the things that I said to them. And one is that it's a terrible situation, and dealing with it is a nightmare, and I can only sympathize with you. It will end. It will pass. What will determine how you are at the end of it is how you cope with it in the present moment. Imagine that it is like a tsunami of grief coming at you. You're standing in the face of a tsunami every day, and you may not survive. That's the reality, isn't it? You may not survive. But if you can see that water crashing around you and try and separate yourself from it, you need to try and separate yourself from your emotional reaction. You need to imagine climbing up above that water, crashing past you and looking down on it. And that's very difficult to do when you're in a really difficult crisis situation. But if you can rise above it and look down on it, imagine crawling out of a flowing river onto a ledge and looking down at the river and let it flow past, and don't try and hold it, don't try and stop it, just let it pass, and relax inside and let it pass. Then that at least will help you in the moment. It will help you just to hang on a little bit tighter. And the more of that you can do, the better you can find it. I also compare it to a great hurricane. You know, a hurricane is a swirling donut of clouds and wind and rain that can kill you, literally. But inside it, there is a still center. If you can find the still center and get into the still center, then that's where it's quiet. That's where the stillness is. And that's where everybody else can be too. You know, to confuse science with metaphysics here, but, you know, you're in India. India is the home of philosophy. And, you know, there is a still center in every person. And if you look inside that still center, you will find your family there. You will find every human being connected there. And if you...
Basically the whole universe.
Yeah, it's a whole universe in there. And if you can... The outside world is full of disaster and crisis. But if you can spend some time every day in your still center and center yourself and just be still for a while, it will help you cope with the noise and the distress. And the more time you can spend in the still center, the better. If you can operate and stay in the still center inside while you're doing your daily work, then you're there. You know, then you can be the strong person for everyone else, because everyone needs you. We all need one another right now.
Yeah.
We need to stay strong for one another. And if you can find that still center and be there for as long as possible, then let yourself rest and heal. And resting and healing is really important too. When you go and find your rest, however long your night is going to be, however much time you have to sleep, and some people are not sleeping much at the moment. They're working extremely long hours just trying to keep things going. And I do completely understand that. But you must make some time to rest during the day or the night. You need to feed yourself well. You need to make sure you're drinking clean water as often as possible. And you need to give yourself a chance to rest, not your body only, but your nervous system, your mind. You need to rest inside as well as on the outside. You can't rest properly if inside you're in turmoil. So when you go to rest, if you can find the still center and get yourself calm inside, and then let your body rest, even if you're not asleep, just give yourself moments when you can let your body rest and let it try and get itself back to normal. And that will keep you going for longer. It will make you stronger. And it will make life easier to deal with. And that's really all I can offer, you know, is that. And the idea that, you know, when the history books are written, and they will be written, and when they write about COVID, and when children in school read about this period in history, they will not know about the suffering. They won't experience the suffering. They will read about the changes that happened in society, about the reevaluation of what really matters, and about the changes that technology brought about. And they will read about the causes and the outcomes. But they won't be affected by the pain. What they will be affected by is how well we cope. What we do, how we cope is going to shape the world that they're living in. And if we can get it together, and if we can keep ourselves going and think of the future and create something, they will never know the suffering. They will only know what we made for them. And we need to remember that, even though today is dreadful. The day is going to come when it's not dreadful, and what we make for them will be dependent on us coping today.
How beautiful! How beautiful! Yeah. Thank you so much for your wise words. With this, one last question to you, Helen. So, I mean, you know, when a lot of people are going through these behaviors and these emotional changes, which we call as depression or anxiety. So how do we know that we are actually, you know, what is that first symptom or what is that first sign that we have to look for, and that we have to actually recognize that, oh, okay, I am going through a problem or something for which I might need a professional help?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, in psychology, we talk about such problems in two ways. Sometimes they're just a result of your physical makeup. There's something about your nervous system, your DNA, that has weakness in it, and you are experiencing illness. And
physically,
you need to go and get some help. You know, it's no good just saying, you know, buck up, cheer up, you know, don't get miserable. you can get through this. That's no good to a person who's in that situation. They need to go and they need to get some professional medical help. Right now, we're all depressed. We're all low. We're all suffering real trauma. And everyone suffers that at different times. And we will come through it. And most people will bounce back. People who are not able to manage their internal states very well are more at a disadvantage. I can't say that learning to find the center, learning not to hang on to things that aren't worth hanging on to, learning to let go and trust in the universe, I can't say that that will make everyone better, because it doesn't. But not being able to do that can make it worse. So I would say if someone is suffering real depression and they're struggling to cope, by all means, go to your doctor if you need to go and find something to help you in the immediate time. You know, I don't offer therapy. I literally do not offer it. I won't accept clients who need that care. They need to go and find a therapist who can help them with their problem. But I would also say it's worth everybody can learn the skills of centering and learning to let go and learning to, you know, there are amazing things you can do with your brain. It's incredible. Until you learn how to do it, you don't realize how much control you can have over your body. You can literally turn a cloudy day into a sunny day if you know the skills to do it. But those are great things to have, and they will help you be well, but they will not take away illness. They will not, you know, it's wrong to suggest that someone who is really suffering is just not being positive enough. That's cruel, actually. It's unkind. So I would say if things are really, really bad, go and get help, proper medical help, and let your doctor help you. They may give you something to take for that. They may give you, you know, an opportunity to speak to a counsellor who can help you deal with the grief that you're suffering, because you need to heal. Once you're healed, then take the time to develop emotional intelligence. However you do that, there are an increasing number of people offering services to help with that. And that will help you to be stronger in the future. It doesn't mean that you don't feel pain. It means that when you do feel pain, you know what to do with it. It enables you to step above it, step past it, and resolve it and feel better inside. But everyone is under terrible strain at the moment. People who are vulnerable will be breaking under the pressure. You know, we know certainly in the UK that the incidence of alcoholism and drug taking has just exploded, because people who are vulnerable are simply not able to cope in any other way, and they're self-abusing and sadly overdoing it and dying as well. If you need medical help, go for medical help. Get yourself healed. Symptoms of depression: when you're no longer able to cope with your daily life, when you cannot get out of bed, when you don't even want to eat, you know, you can't sustain that for a long period of time. In some ways in India, that is less likely to happen because you're more in contact with your families. You know, in Britain, we're so far away from our families a lot of the time. Our families may never know that we're not getting out of bed. They wouldn't know. Seriously, it happens quite a lot. And in India, your family will know if you're not getting out of bed, and they will keep an eye on you far more, because you work more as a unit than we do. It's an advantage for you to work as a unit. You can help take care of one another in a better way than a British person can usually. So if you're not just dealing with daily life, if you're staying in bed, if you're not eating, if you're refusing to, you know, just engage with the day, you do need help. You need to find help. Where you find that, you know, you may find that within your family, there may be someone in your family who can come and lift you and help you to lift out of that feeling. But if you need to go and find medical help, go find the medical help. Of course, that is very difficult for you in the current situation. I mean, it's a nightmare where you are right now. But, you know, don't blame yourself. Please don't blame people for being overwhelmed. How could they not be overwhelmed in this situation? You know, a strong man would weep in the situation you're in. So don't blame them for being overwhelmed. Be understanding, be kind, and just try and be supportive until those things are available again, and then find the healing that they need.
Mm-hmm. And take care of yourself until the storm passes.
That's right. Yes, take care of yourself. Absolutely. We can't help other people without helping ourselves first. It's not selfish. If it is selfish, it's the right kind of selfish. We keep ourselves strong and fit and healthy so that we can serve others. On the plane, when you're on the plane and the oxygen drops down, you put yours on before you look after everybody else. You can't help them if you're collapsing. So yes, you matter. And once you're feeling stronger, you can soon help other people. And don't blame them if they're falling apart. They will fall apart. You don't have to be responsible for putting them together, but shield them and guide them and help them while they find their feet again. That's the way for us to survive the situation that we're in at the moment.
Thank you so much, Helen, for for such wise words and for speaking with us and sharing your beautiful thoughts with us. So thank you so much for coming to SQ TV and speaking with us. It was so lovely speaking to you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I hope that anything I've said, if anything I've said helps anybody, I'm just delighted to have had the opportunity. I wish you all well.
I'm sure it is going to.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And let me assure you that, people all over Europe and around the world are watching you and with you. We're sending you good wishes all the time. And you're not forgotten. Believe me, you're not forgotten. We are thinking of you.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, that's it from SQ TV. Keep on watching.